team, my name is Will. I'm an IFMGA guide here in New Zealand, and I'm here today to talk to you about packing for your upcoming trip with aspiring guides. Here in New Zealand, our mountains are remote and close to the ocean, so as a result we have quite challenging conditions, and we need to have a balance when we're packing between being prepared for the worst and not carrying too much so we can move fast and quickly. Layering in the mountains is really important. We recommend at least a 3-part layering system consisting of a base layer, a mid layer, something ideally synthetic or a fleece for this mid layer, and then a shell jacket followed by a down puffy jacket for extra warmth. Socks and base layers. For socks we definitely want to avoid cotton. Wool is best. Ski and hiking socks work well, and we recommend 2 to 3 pairs. For base layers, again we're avoiding cotton, ideally synthetic or wool and purpose made. 1 to 2 pairs recommended. Particularly for summer trips into the glaciers, we are looking for a light layer that protects us from sun. These sun hoodies are really popular and provide great protection. Also, a light collared shirt or glacier shirt with a collar is also recommended. Picking the right shell is really important. It's arguably one of the most critical layers. Here in New Zealand we want the hood to be helmet compatible. It needs to be waterproof and also be able to easily go underneath a harness. We recommend no insulation and just a shell alone. When choosing the right type of pant for your trip, ideally we're looking for a soft shell pant for everyday use that is light to mid-weight and fast drying. We'll also need to bring a pair of hard shells or rain trousers to deal with bad weather and rain. We do recommend that you bring gaiters on your trip for 2 reasons. Up high in the Alpine, especially in summer, a lot of snow can get to the top of our boots. Wet boots equals wet feet equals a bad day. They also help prevent your crampon spike from going through your pant and then even into your leg. Ideally we're looking for something that's knee high and of a canvas or strong material. For the important part, we're going to need lots of different things. A buff or some sort of face covering for both hot and cold conditions. A beanie for cold conditions, and a cap or wide-brimmed hat for sunny conditions. Particularly if you're bringing a wide-brimmed hat, you need to make sure it fits underneath your helmet. Sunglasses, ideally of a category 3 and above rating, ideally category 4, and then have protection on the edges of the sunglass to prevent sunlight getting through the eyes. For gloves, we do recommend a light pair and a heavy pair. Gives us a spare as well as allowing for different conditions. If doing a winter or early summer season trip, or you get with cold hands, a heavier pair is recommended as well. 2 main types of boots that we'll use, or that you will use on your upcoming trip. Either what we call a full shank mountaineering boot or a 3/4 shank. The full shank mountaineering courses, particularly up in the snow and ice, these are the boots we'll take. They have a completely rigid sole, which is good for ice climbing and steep snow climbing, as well as being very waterproof. The 3/4 shank, more for later summer trips where we're spending a lot of time on rock. They still have a quite rigid sole, but a little bit of flex in the toe to allow for moving across the undulating nature of the rock. It also is good for mountaineering trips like the Northwest Ridge of Aspiring, where we're doing, or the Grand Traverse, where we're doing a lot of rock climbing. We often have people show up with their favourite boots from many years ago, which is great. They often can be quite heavy though. It's important that we have the right boot for the right job. It means that we move well and efficiently, and also secure on our feet, which is really, really important. Crampons are arguably some of our most important kit. They keep us secure to the mountain on snow and ice. Generally, we will give you this type of crampon, which is a semi-automatic 12-point crampon. Really important things here are the anti-balling plates, which is important to stop snow and ice getting clogged in our crampons, and the semi-locking nature of the bail. So this bail here at the back allows us to clip the crampon onto the boot, which again provides security in areas of high consequence. It's important if you're bringing your own crampons that it is something similar to this. Key things being locking with a strap and the anti-balling plates. Examples of crampons that aren't necessarily fit for purpose, crampons with really flexible bars or no significant front points. If you're on a winter ice climbing trip, these front points are really critical. The G12 is basically a minimum standard for climbing steep ice, and the front points will need to look like this or even more aggressive, straight out and serrated. There are two main types of harness you'll use on your trip. Either more of a sort of generic climbing harness. This is what we use for most courses and rock climbing. So slightly more heavy duty with multiple gear loops, okay, and allows us to put lots of things on them. If we're doing an ascent trip or glacier ski touring, we'll use a smaller, lot more lightweight harness. Just as safe as a larger harness, although not quite as comfortable if we're spending a lot of time hanging in it. This is most likely going to be used for ascent trips and ski touring. Ice axes will generally have at least one type of ice axe, which is going to look like this. More of a standard mountaineering axe, which has an adze on the back here. We may also give a similar axe that's slightly shorter but with a hammer, which is useful for hitting things into the mountain. If on an ice climbing trip, it's likely that you'll receive a more technical climbing axe, which looks like this. These are great for climbing ice, but not suitable for a mountain trip. All trips will require a helmet, protects arguably our most important bit of kit, our brain. What we're looking for here is something that's durable, but is rated as a climbing helmet. Generally we're looking for something that is large enough to fit another layer or a hat underneath as well, in case of cold or sunny conditions. Belay devices, there are many different types of belay device out there. We recommend one of these two types, something that is capable of passing two strands through the device, and particularly if on a course, something like this, which is capable of a self-locking belay from above. Carabiners, we're recommending 3 locking carabiners, something that has a gate that's openable and closable and stops the gate from being open, and 4 snap link carabiners, something like this, lighter than the lockers but has no self-locking capability. We'll generally give everyone 2 prusiks. These need to be a 5 or 6 mil accessory cord, and we're looking for 1 long, 1 short. For slings, we recommend that everyone has, or we will give you, at least one 120 centimeter long loop sling, either nylon, like so, or Dyneema. The Dyneema slings are thinner and lighter, just as strong, but have less abrasion resistance. The nylon has more abrasion resistance, but is a bit thicker and heavier. Everyone will get at least 1 ice screw that needs to be a minimum of 16 centimeters long, and ideally something that is from this century, not too old. For snow stakes, we are looking for either a T-shaped stake like so, or a V-shaped like this one. We do recommend that people carry at least 1 collapsible walking pole with them. Ideally these have a basket, at least this size, if not larger, if on the snow. We'll often take avalanche equipment on our trips, particularly winter, early summer season, or whenever there's been recent snowfall and the guide deems it warranted. This will consist of an avalanche probe, a collapsible shovel, and an avalanche transceiver. These avalanche transceivers in particular need to be of a 3 antenna nature, not too old. Any of our trips here at Aspiring Guides will have you completely covered for all technical equipment. Heat torch, we ideally want something that is capable of going over a helmet and nice and strong, but has a red light for those early morning wake-ups in huts. For water bottles and water carrying, we recommend having the ability to carry at least 1 litre, ideally 1 to 2. These Nalgene bottles are great. Camelbacks we don't recommend, particularly for winter and early season trips, as the water often freezes in the hose. Sunscreen and lip balm are really important, particularly if on a glacier trip We recommend having this easy accessible throughout the day and having enough of both. Your guide will always carry a first aid kit. However, if you'd like to bring your own, if it's small enough, that's okay. And also bring your own toiletries, any medicines that you need as well. When it comes to sleeping bags, we recommend something that's rated to at least 0 degrees, if not warmer. And if using a down sleeping bag, bring it in a dry bag to prevent it from getting wet. Other types of footwear. If staying in a hut for the majority of your time, a pair of hut slippers like this, or Crocs, or sandals or jandals are often really comfortable. And then for any trips like the Norwest Ridge of Aspiring or any other sort of mountain trips that involve a long walkout, some running shoes or approach shoes will also be more comfortable than your mountain boots on the walkout. On all of Aspiring Guides trips, the teams are equipped with emergency communication, whether that's a sat phone, inReach, radio, or a combination of everything else. If you have your own emergency communication like an inReach or a PLB, we encourage that you bring that along. We understand that these comprehensive lists can be a little overwhelming, particularly if this is your first trip into the mountains. With every trip here at Aspiring Guides, there'll be a gear check beforehand, and your guides will help you refine down to exactly what you